So obviously everybody was battered here in the UK from Storm Darragh, and all I heard was crashes and bangs throughout the whole of the night. And when I checked the back garden this morning, all our fences are down and everything is being strewn everywhere. But my main priority this morning is making sure my chickens are safe, because obviously we keep those on the allotment. So let's go and see what actual damage has been done by Storm Darragh. Well, polytunnels seem to be still stood up, which is good. Let's have a look. Now the wind has died down an awful lot. Funnily enough though, all the straw I put down has actually stayed in place. Canes have fallen down. Now the wind last night was quite strong and it really was blowing things around. I am really surprised that the brassica cage is stood up, but obviously it's netting. But I was really surprised that that is still standing. Now it doesn't look too bad at the moment. Well, let's go and check these chickens, because that is my priority. Now, there's a few things that's been blown down here. Oh, and it looks like we have no tarp left. Morning, girls. Oh. Oh. Yeah, so even though our coop is waterproof, we like to keep the run waterproof too. But as you can see, that has been shredded, absolutely shredded. So that's something I'm going to have to order, just so we can keep the chickens dry. Now the chickens are all going through a molt, so they look a little bit worse for wear at the moment. And I think I need to do a good clean. But it does look like all the chickens are here. The actual structure seems to be good, which really is a bonus. Now, obviously those chickens are getting blown about a little bit, but they have got a bit of security. But I'm just looking around the actual allotment itself, and there seems to be a bit of damage. So one of our greenhouse panels has gone. I think that was a plastic one, because there is no signs of glass anywhere. I'm just going to pop my bag down. Let's have a look. So I did come down yesterday and wedge this, because we were worried, because we hadn't actually finished it, because we were waiting on supplies to actually fit the rest of the glass in. And unfortunately, since me putting it up, I just haven't had time. Now, most of those plastic panels popped out with ease. But unfortunately, I have got broken glass, which is a bit of a shame. I wonder, well, we do seem to be missing some panels as well, so we'll have to go hunting for those on the other allotment sites, because no doubt they would have blown everywhere. But the chicken coop, the actual tarp, there is definitely not much left after Storm Darragh. So that's that inspected. Let's check out the polytunnels, because I have no idea. Now, looking from the outside, there is no obvious tears. Now, this is obviously our one of our DIY polytunnels. And what I was really worried, even though I knew the structure itself wasn't going to be blown down, but I was a little bit worried about things flying through the air and damaging the plastic. Now the wind is still gusting today. Now it actually looks not too bad. I've got to hold on to my doors just to make sure that they don't fly open. But thankfully, our polytunnel, well, one of our polytunnels at least, is safe, which is a massive relief. Now, obviously, our growing arch is still standing. I was expecting nothing more from that. I didn't think it would be much of an issue, to be honest. Now, there is a few pots and bits of things blown about, but I really do need to check the other polytunnel. Now, from the outside, it looks absolutely fine. Now, this was the first recycled polytunnel that we'd actually built this year, well, when we came onto our allotment. Let's have a look. And again, this is managed to withstand. Now, again, we were not worried about the actual structure itself, because I think by the time we get the strong winds that would be able to demolish something like this, I don't think much would be left standing on most people's allotments. But we were worried about debris and things flying about, piercing the actual skins. On a happier note, we have got some little bits of garlic coming up on our bed. That's a little bit of excitement for a pretty rubbish day. Now, I just thought I would actually check this polytunnel again, and it does actually look like we've got one of the poles that have come out, so we just need to fix that before it pierces the actual plastic. So we've just popped a bolt in just to make sure that these stay together. I think we just forgot to do it on this particular one, but so far I think we've been quite lucky. Now, we've actually been quite lucky. Our structures have actually stood, but I'm actually looking around the allotment and there is a lot of damage. A lot of fences down, a lot of beds and canes and little grow houses that have decided to fly. But there is one allotment that really we do want to go and check on, and that is somebody whom we're quite good friends with on our allotment site. I want to make sure that how bad theirs is. They've got a lot of high-rise structures, maybe a lot more flimsy materials. And I want to make sure everything's okay for them so we can let them know. Now, it's such a shame when you've worked so hard and the winds come in and blow everything away. And I think if you're going to have structures, spending or using strong pieces, like with your poles or your polytunnels, it makes a massive, massive difference. Now, because we used trampoline parts, they were much, much stronger. Now, on this allotment, most of them have not been let, and it is exceptionally overgrown here. But the ones with any structures at all have had a hard time. Now, this is our friend Derek's and Sally Ann's. And as you can see, there doesn't seem to be any covers on those polytunnels at the bottom. Structures have bent and fallen over. But to be honest, it could have been an awful lot worse. And I think we actually dodged a lot of the worst weather here where we are compared to some of the other parts of the UK. Now, when this allotment here is feeling a little bit better and the wind has died down, we'll actually come in and help him redo his structures or give him any help that he needs. Because I think that's what allotment life's about. It's supposed to be helping each other. We're not all of us going to get on with each other, and everybody will be growing a different way. But I think everybody should be able to get along, or at least tolerate each other. But I know from past experience, this is definitely easier said than done. But where we can help out, we will try. Because at the end of the day, everyone that's trying to grow on an allotment is trying to grow for their own fruits and vegetables. In general, they're all out for the right same thing. So I want to encourage that. So I need to pick up those pieces of glass that have broken from the greenhouse. I think we have been extremely lucky. It's a shame the other greenhouse wasn't sealed, But it was getting the glass that was the issue. Those plastic panels with any kind of this wind, because we're quite exposed here, they just don't last. The frame, hopefully we can fix because it is a little bit buckled. But I think maybe we're going to strengthen it up because of how exposed it is on this particular site. We are going to have to put some posts in. I think we're probably lucky we actually wedged it with that piece of wood yesterday before the majority of the wind hit. Because I do think that this probably would have collapsed. Because of how it is, you need the glass to actually weigh it down and to protect it. And many frames that have been left without glass or plastic or anything else have been destroyed in any kind of wind. So even though we're going to have to strengthen the structure, make it a little bit better, I think it could have been a lot worse. But my main priority is this. Now, as you can see, it is incredibly windy. Now, the chickens have got somewhere dry to go. They've got their actual coop itself. But I need to get this tarp ordered, and I'm going to try and go for a much stronger tarp. Obviously, money dependent. But at least the coop's dry for them and they've got somewhere to go. And I do believe that the weather is going to lift over the next few days. So fingers crossed, they're not going to get that wet. So yes, I'm completely grateful that it was just a few panes of glass, a little bit of plastic, and maybe a bit of metal that's been bent. The tarp on the chicken run can be replaced, and in fact, I'm going to go home now and get that ordered. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get it tomorrow or maybe the next day. Chickens don't need overprotecting, but they do like to stay dry, and it does make it easier with their chickens' eggs. It stops them getting so messy if they're in mud all the time. What I'll probably do is, once the wind does die down, hopefully by tomorrow, maybe the next day, I'll get that tarp on. There's no point trying to do it in the windy weather because, well, it's just going to tear again. And then I'll completely gut their chicken run and add some more fresh straw, because at the moment that's all I've got, because the fresh wood chip that we normally use, it's still coming in as quite green. And I don't know what some of it actually is with the leaves. And I know some of it is not the best to have in a chicken run. So I'd rather be a little bit more cautious. But hopefully, fingers crossed, in the next few weeks, especially after this storm, I think a lot of the tree surgeons are going to be out chopping down trees. So hopefully we may get some wood chip to put in there, because it's something I much prefer to use, is the wood chip instead of the straw. The straw gets wet very quickly, starts smelling very quickly, and it's something that has to be changed out on a regular basis. And at the end of the day, even though those straw bales are relatively cheap, they still cost money. So guys, I really hope that your plots, your growing areas, whatever you're doing, is actually okay and there isn't too much damage. I have seen horror stories already online about people losing greenhouses, polytunnels, all sorts of things. But hopefully, most of you have actually got through this storm without too much damage on your growing space. If you have, look, just deal with it at the time and then just make plans. Decide what's best for you. But that's it for today. I need to go and clean up. I need to go and finish off little jobs. And I think I've got about 7 or 8 panels in the garden of fences that I need to fix. So that looks like it's going to be on my job to do over the next day or two.